Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville, fiber internet, streaming TV, home security, and automation in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. A Bloomington mother is pushing lawmakers to help get her son out of a Venezuelan prison.
They're holding him hostage is what it amounts to. He is a hostage there. There's no legal reason to keep him there.
Just ahead, her feelings of helplessness grow as the country's political crisis keeps her from her son. Attorney General Curtis Hill isn't free of accusations he groped 4 women last March. A complaint filed against him this week could cost him his job. And years of inadequate funding have increased pressure on teachers and public schools.
There are no teachers coming up through the ranks. No one wants to do it.
Educators in Indiana are joining teachers across the country asking state leaders for more money and respect. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. A Bloomington mother wants to know why her son is still in a Venezuelan prison after she says he was supposed to be released in November. Venezuelan authorities arrested Todd Leininger on charges of attempted murder and arms trafficking nearly 5 years ago. Reporter Barbara Brozier has been following this story. Barbara, where does this case stand now?
Well, the government ultimately dismissed the terrorism charges and instead charged him with attempted homicide and concealment of a firearm. A State Department spokesperson says a Venezuelan court ordered his release November 5th, but Todd remains in prison. And now his mother is doing everything she can to get her son home. Todd is Barbara Leininger's youngest son.
He's a great kid, a great man.
But it's been nearly 5 years since Barbara saw Todd when he embarked on a trip to his wife's native country of Venezuela that would change all of their lives.
They accused my son of shooting someone. They accused him of being a terrorist, not only him, but his wife and her sister. And they accused him of weapons trafficking. Now, the weapons that they say he took into the country would be pretty difficult to get out of the airport in Indianapolis.
Barbara estimates she spent about $100,000 fighting to get him home. And they thought it would happen after she says a court ordered Todd's release in November.
I think I'm going to be coming home very soon, Mom. It's really, really exciting. It's very unsure, though, because we're here in Venezuela. No, it's not unsure, but it's, you know how it's been for me.
Prison officials didn't release Todd, and it's unclear what it will take in order for them to do so.
They're holding him hostage is what it amounts to. He is a hostage there. There's no legal reason to keep him there, and they're using him.
She says the ongoing crisis over political power in Venezuela makes her son valuable to the government, and it makes Barbara even more desperate to get Todd home.
I've tweeted Maduro recently. I have tweeted President Trump. Why is our government not getting my son home? I need to know the answers to these questions.
Barbara has been in touch with Representative Trey Hollingsworth and Senator Todd Young about her son's case. In a statement, Young says Todd's health and safety are his top priority, and he will continue working with the State Department to explore all possibilities to secure his release. Barbara says Todd's mental and physical health are deteriorating because of the poor conditions in the prison, which make his release all the more urgent. A State Department spokesperson says they're worried prison officials are prohibiting food deliveries and denying communication. The U.S. recently suspended its operations in the country because of the unrest, so officials have to work with other countries to ensure Todd's welfare. Other Americans have been released from Venezuelan prisons over the past couple of years, and Barbara says that's really what gives her hope.
Barbara, thank you very much for that report. And now we talk to Statehouse reporter Brandon Smith about the latest updates about the complaint filed against Attorney General Curtis Hill, and then catch us up on what state lawmakers have been up to. Brandon, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
So the state Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission filed a complaint against Attorney General Curtis Hill over his alleged groping of 4 women last year. So what is the commission saying, and what could that mean for Hill?
Well, the commission argues that those allegations against Curtis Hill means that he's violated the state's rules of conduct for attorneys, and a punishment for that could include suspension or even revocation of his law license, and that would make him ineligible to continue serving as Attorney General. Now, of course, Hill has long denied these allegations, and he's pointed out that a special prosecutor actually declined to bring criminal charges last year.
House Republicans are reacting to a recent change by the BMV. Now that gives Hoosiers a non-binary gender option on state IDs. So what would their new language mean for Hoosiers who don't identify as male or female?
Well, what House Republicans have proposed would actually make it harder for anyone to change their gender on their state IDs, male, female, or non-binary. Currently, you can do that at the BMV if you have a form filled out by your physician. The House Republicans are proposing that you instead first have to change your birth certificate, which goes to the health department, and that requires a court order.
And Brandon, a House committee is looking at language that would allow guns to be brought inside churches on school property. This legislation was held up earlier in the session. What changed, and why is this back on the table?
Well, it stalled out because there were concerns over the definition in the bill of school property. And now the language that was revived by a House committee this week simplifies that definition to make it much clearer and has really satisfied everybody's concerns. If that bill becomes law, which it seems on track to now, it would mean that churches on school properties could allow guns in their worship space. The person who would make that decision, or the group that would make that decision, would be the property owners themselves, whether that's the church or the school.
Okay, Brandon, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brosier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Testing is underway at 2 Franklin elementary schools after cancer-causing chemicals were found in vapor underneath the school buildings. District officials say preliminary results showed high levels of TCE, one of the chemicals associated with the old Amphenol industrial site. Residents suspect TCE could be behind child cancers in the area. The district closed the 2 elementary schools yesterday and kids learned from home. The superintendent says they hope to have testing complete by Thursday of next week, and kids won't return to the buildings until they're deemed safe.
It will never be my intention to put a student or a staff member back into a facility where there would be question of unsafe air quality.
Tests the company EnviroForensics did in August came back at safe levels, but the company suggested retesting in the winter because levels of TCE can fluctuate with the seasons. The district doesn't plan, though, to test other schools at this time. Indiana's largest teachers union says teachers at an elementary school were shot with plastic pellets during active shooter training. The Indiana State Teachers Association says it happened at Meadowlawn Elementary School in Monticello. The union told the Senate's Education Committee this week that the pellets left the teachers with welts, bruises, and abrasions during January training by a local sheriff's office. The union wants lawmakers to prohibit teachers from being shot with any sort of ammunition. Jennifer McCormick will be Indiana's last elected state superintendent. A bill that would make it a position appointed by the governor passed through the Senate this week. It now awaits Governor Holcomb's signature. The law was supposed to take effect in 2025, but lawmakers said they wanted to make it sooner because current superintendent Jennifer McCormick isn't seeking re-election. A bill that would let counties with overcrowded jails send level 6 felons to new regional holding facilities comes with a steep price tag. Representative Randy Fry is behind the proposal and says the Department of Correction could open its shuttered Henryville prison and use an underutilized portion of Madison Correctional Facility to accommodate the inmates.
According to Department of Corrections, they believe that the pilot will cost about $7.5 million for the 2 years of the pilot.
Now, where exactly that money will come from is unclear. It's now in the hands of Appropriations. The Indiana Public Defender Council is against the bill because the agency says it doesn't address the problems that contribute to jail overcrowding. Also at the State House this week, a panel discussed ways to change the narrative surrounding the opioid epidemic, from the war on drugs to a public health crisis. Overdose Lifeline founder and executive director Justin Phillips says the state has taken some steps in the right direction, just not enough.
When we passed Aaron's Law, which would be 4 years ago this time, allowing for access to the overdose reversal drug naloxone, we changed to a public health approach. So we've made some progress, but we still have a very long way to go.
Phillips joined representatives from the Indiana Recovery Alliance, Indiana Minority Health Coalition, Women for Change, and dozens of activists to lobby lawmakers to adopt a public health approach to the epidemic. She says the fact they are open to discussions about how best to tackle the opioid epidemic shows some progress, but there is much more left to do. Phillips lost her son Aaron to a heroin overdose in October 2013. Indiana hospital emergency rooms are overwhelmed with patients because of an unexpected spike in the flu. Outpatients reporting flu-like symptoms last week reached 5%, the highest percentage recorded in March, according to the Indiana State Department of Health. Influenza A, which includes the H1N1 and H2N2 strand, accounted for the majority of flu cases.
Right now, we're just now seeing that seasonal peak. Influenza activity is high and it's widespread geographically, and it just happens to be that this time, this year in particular, we're seeing that peak a little bit later than we have.
Kelly says it's unclear why the flu season is peaking so late. 60 people have died from the flu statewide, with 5 in Monroe County. State wildlife officials are investigating a Brown County man's report that a mountain lion killed his family's pet cat. Nashville resident James Halcomb filed a report on March 11th with the Indiana Department of Environmental Resources. And DNR staffers collected the pet's carcass for examination. The agency says a search of the reported attack site found no tracks associated with the mountain lion.
I am a little nervous about my kids getting on the bus before daylight, and for the safety of our pets and neighbors' pets and stuff out, but hopefully it was just passing through.
The DNR says mountain lions vanished in Indiana by the late 1800s, but there have been confirmed sightings in 2009 in Clay County, in 2010 in Greene County. Let's hope it was just passing through, Joe.
Well, you know, I've heard of cougars and deer, of course.
So maybe it's not so far-fetched.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Educators say low teacher pay is just a symptom of the stress put on our education system in recent years. And one small Indiana town is hoping to build an anchor for the community with a new library. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
$10,000.
15? 15, you think?
20, 21,000?
600.
20. 18.5.
24.
It's at least 40.
Look at it.
4,500,000.
650.
20.
650.
This textile would be worth about $500,000.
$500,000?
No way.
I knew it. It's just a blanket.
Laying on the back of a chair. Well, sir, you have a national treasure.
Wow.
A national treasure. Congratulations.
I can't believe this.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Widespread protests have brought teacher pay and school funding into the spotlight in several states. This year, Indiana educators have pressed for action on some of the same issues. Hundreds gathered for a rally earlier this month to send their message to lawmakers.
And I'm here because teacher pay is really important. I also just recently went down an insurance plan. That way I have a lower premium and a higher deductible in order to have more monthly income in my pocket.
I love what I do. I work really hard, but I love what I do and I get to work with the best students.
This is the cornerstone of democracy, and it's an institution that serves every child.
There needs to be an increase in teacher pay.
There are no teachers coming up through the ranks. No one wants to do it.
We can do better than this.
Compensation is one of several key issues they say is vital to the future of teachers in Indiana. Education reporter Jeannie Lindsay is here to tell us more.
Absolutely. And most people agree teachers need more support, but educators aren't sure plans coming from the State House reflect the urgency of teachers' needs across the state and make up for past changes to funding.
Becky Stoltzfus says she's known since she was in 8th grade she wanted to teach. She followed her dream, and for more than 20 years now, she's been teaching in Kokomo. It's her passion, but with limited benefits and pay, she's questioning whether she needs to start looking into other career options.
And it breaks my heart that I might actually have to do something different.
It's hard to make ends meet when she has to provide for herself and her kids. Stoltzfus teaches 5 subjects, has a master's degree and a PhD's worth of college credits. She usually applies for free trips in the summers to travel the world and bring back pieces of history for her students. But this year,
I'm going to be looking for a second job. I'm hoping to either substitute teach here at the school, or I have friends that work at JCPenney.
Stoltzfus is at the top of her school's pay scale and has limited options to boost her pay. She cut back on her insurance coverage to earn more, and she's not the only one doing it. Many teachers say to fix the state's ongoing shortage and teacher crisis, a few things need to change. For starters, compensation they say is lacking because of poor school funding. Data shows Indiana's average full-time teacher pay lands at about $50,000 a year. That varies wildly from district to district. Still, teacher wages in neighboring states have only added to the pressure in Indiana. A report from Teach Plus and Stand for Children Indiana says the state needs to spend at least another $650 million each year to be competitive in the region.
We're leveraging a $150 million investment to save local schools $70 million a year.
That's one of the state's lead budget writers, Representative Todd Houston. He's talking about a plan to use part of the state's surplus to pay off some teacher pension debt. The idea is hopefully schools that see those savings will use the money to pay their teachers more. But there are a few problems with that idea. First, some districts won't see as much from the pension payoff. And secondly, there's no requirement schools pass on any savings to teachers. But that's why Houston says House Bill 1003 is crucial this year, too. It would publicize how schools manage their money and require the state to collect Indiana-focused teacher pay and school spending data.
What House Bill 1003 is, let's make it more transparent. Let's make sure communities understand where their dollars are being spent.
District leaders argue they've been working for years to cut costs and streamline expenses. The superintendent of Becky Stoltzfus district, Jeff Hauswald, says his corporation changed its health insurance plan to save the district money, but it created a ripple effect.
Some of that has come with sacrifices, right? We've had to create a plan that has higher deductibles. So there's an example. I talked to you in 2010. We went through a process and we closed 3 schools.
Hauswald is among school leaders who say they're in a position now where there's nothing left to cut, and the only option is more funding. But Houston is advocating for local communities to step up. He says schools can't rely on lawmakers to do everything.
You want to pay your teachers a bunch of money, and you want to have small class sizes, and you want to have very small schools. At the end of the day, you're probably going to need to add a local contribution to that.
a contribution made through something like a local voter-approved referendum. Only about 1/3 of Indiana's schools have tried to pass a referendum, and some districts can count on their community to pass those regularly. Others aren't as lucky.
Then we have other districts we know that probably would maybe never be able to get through a referendum for whatever reasons, mostly economic reasons in their communities.
That's Executive Director for the Indiana Association of School Business Officials, Denny Costerson. He says at this point, the state likely needs to consider another revenue source to help fund public schools. Either that, or there need to be fewer schools. Costerson says struggling schools may have to consider another hotly debated option, consolidation.
That's just the only other option I think that they have is to look that way.
But most schools cower at even the mention of the word consolidation. Teachers see low pay as one of several symptoms of a devalued field. Many blame a series of changes to the state's funding formula that's left a lot of public schools scrambling to come up with cash. Now teachers want a cultural shift toward more respect with better pay. They're professionals with a job to do. So will Kokomo teacher Becky Stoltzfus live out her dream of retiring as a teacher?
I don't know, and I hate the fact that I've actually started to question that.
Many other Hoosier educators face the same question. Should they stay? Right now, their answers depend on how lawmakers respond to their calls for more money. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Jeannie Lindsay.
So, Jeannie, what are teachers doing to boost their income to try and help their students?
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was really surprising was how many teachers are cutting back on their insurance coverage in order to increase their take-home pay. And, you know, Becky Stoltzfus was talking to me about how she doesn't have short-term disability coverage anymore. And, you know, districts are doing it just so they have more income in their pocket. And, you know, another teacher I talked to near Fort Wayne said something similar. And this isn't related to his insurance, but he actually created a history textbook for his middle school students because funding is so tight.
And teachers are concerned about the future of teaching in Indiana, as we've heard. Can you explain a little bit more about how worried are they?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been talking about a teacher shortage in Indiana, and teachers who are in the classroom are really feeling that pressure. You know, they're looking for jobs, they're looking for different careers, or, you know, they're doing more work and getting less pay. And so new teachers are leaving within the first 5 years for other schools, districts, states. So for teachers like Becky Stoltzfus who are looking to leave to live her life with more money, it's really stressful and tough.
Jeannie, thank you very much for that report today. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Monroe County leaders are taking the next step toward completing a system of connected trails that will run nearly the entire length of the county. As Becca Costello reports, the Limestone Trail furthers the city's growing network of trails.
The south end of the popular Beeline Trail through Bloomington connects to this gravel rail trail. County officials now plan to add an entirely new trail going even further south. The paved Limestone Greenway will run about 1.7 miles. But even that project is just one part of a long-term plan to connect county and city paths.
Now that sounds simple, but it's actually all divided up into little pieces. So the Limestone Greenway is going to be the southernmost portion of that visionary system.
Right now, the area is just an abandoned rail corridor. But it turns out those are ideal for new paths.
Rail corridors, obviously because of the amount of structural soil underneath that's once supported heavily loaded rail cars, is perfect for construction of trail facilities.
The city is planning to connect its Cascades Park Trail to other trails. They'll also work with the county on a connector trail from the Beeline going west to the Karst Farm Greenway. Both city and county officials have prioritized trail development, and they say it's because trails are in high demand.
Trails are absolutely number one that we provide, and number one with what the public would like us to construct more of.
The Limestone Greenway could be complete by the end of the year. The final system of connected trails is years in the future, but already generating excitement.
You know, it's an alternative transportation method for people. Once it's all said and done, to get from one side of the county to the next is a pretty big deal.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Becca Costello.
And the small city of Lagodi is closer to getting a much bigger library. It will be triple the size of the current building, which means a lot more room for community activities. Officials broke ground on the future site this week.
What an opportunity and an investment in the community. We're so close to the pool and the park, and you know, this could be the new entertainment hub.
The library will hire a full-time children's librarian once the new building opens. They hope construction will be done by Thanksgiving. The U.S. Department of Agriculture awarded Lagodi a more than $1 million loan to help fund the project. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville, fiber internet, streaming TV, home security, and automation in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller-Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members, thank you.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing.
For insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the
Senate. You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.